Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are indeed still a thing. Can I get a little audio check in the chat, please? And I'll say hello to a couple of people and I need to have a cough already. That does not bode well. Anyway, who have we got in? Budgie Burgers in with the total madness. It's fucking the brilliant, the utter brilliance of Budgie Burger's madness is phenomenal. So go read his comments. You will like them. Pack is in. What about you, chum? Paranormal. Put my teeth back in. Paranormal Channel X. Big welcome to you. Glad to have you over here. Bass is in. What about you, chum? Mr. Herbert. Stick something in the chat about grandchildren. I hope all's well. And we'll get that flagged up. I hope all is well with that. Anglo, what about you, Sean? My brother from England. How's the accent? What about you, Sean? Sam G, good evening. How's that, Anglo Packer? I'm accent with the evening bigots. Yes, Almac is going to be hopefully jumping on near the end of the stream because we've got some cultural stuff to talk about and our glamping escapades, which were all very good. So that's going to happen this evening. So you've got that to look forward to, which is all good. Now, Sansom is on the missing list, so I'm going to take. we have indeed. So I'm going to take a wild guess at a couple of things. I'm going to guess that tomorrow Rags is going to be streaming. Oh, I am always tactful. I am always tactful. Yes, I would say Rags is going to be streaming tomorrow. I have not heard anything from Sanson. People do not panic. He just doesn't take his devices with him everywhere. And if he's busy, he's busy. Don't panic. So I don't know if he's going to be doing anything on Monday with his usual cohorts. Don't know. John Davidson on a. Sorry, just reading comments. Right. Yes, John Davison on a Monday and Friday. We've got that coming up. If you want a bit of good background news from our perspective from around the world, courage is the cure. Is your guard for that? Australian guard does very good coverage. And if you want a timeout from all the serious stuff, pardon me, Dave's Waffles House, weeknights from 8:30. It's nothing but a sham and drivel, and it's also bloody good fun with nice people. So if you need a bit of a timeout, then that's the place to go. One momento. I need to go grab this. The twins are doing well, 42, but they are tiny, only £4 to £5 each. Well, £45 fine. They're going to do fine at that, and they'll not stay that size. But here's the important thing: they are doing well, and you've got to expect them to be a bit smaller, being twins, and they quickly grow out of that. So don't worry. uh, yeah, I'm really glad to hear that, and I'm sure the challenge as well. Uh, Pack is correct. James Waffle House is a complete sham, and we will put Special K and Acid. What about you, chum? Glad to have you in. Put an RH in the chat, please, for Roy Harbert for his grandchildren, because that's some good news that we don't always get. We don't always get good news, so we've got to celebrate it while it's there. Have I got anything else that I need to talk about? Mac, yes, we had a bit of an issue where I have a Dave's Waffle House calendar for Almac, and despite the fact that I actually went up and met him and all that, he, I forgot to bring it with me. So it was in Belfast, and I was at the glamping site, and I'm sorry, but we'll post it after him. We landed. What about you, chum? Glad to have you here. Sam, do you think say hello to you? All right, sorry, just going through the chat. Right, with that, I think I'm going to make a bit of a start on the content. Right, so we're going to talk about the Magna Carta. Magna Carta is a change in the legal system in England, notably. It doesn't affect the rest of the United Kingdom because the kingdom at that stage was very far from united. In fact, England was only just getting the grips of being one unified body. Ireland was still tribes here, there, and wherever. No unification there, with the added activities of Vikings coming in and beating the shit out of them, and then Normans, and so Magna Carta is only ever really going to affect England. Sorry, I was just checking the chat there. Magna Carta. Yep. So it's only ever really going to affect people in England. The first thing I want to look at is the laws, a very, very quick look at the laws as we had them. What the feudal laws were like in England. I'm going to go through this quite quickly. So this is what we were coming from. This is also coming from BBC Bite Size, so it's it would end up in the whole of the UK, but only because we became it was a first step and a long way to getting us to the rights we currently enjoy, or lack thereof. But yes, it was more for landowners. The rest of the UK didn't get common law really until it became united. Right, hold on. Anyway, so I'm going to get up a bit about the feudal laws at the time. share that up. Right. I want to see what this looks like on the StreamYards, and that's a little small. So we're going to zoom this in. Right. So after conquering England, William needed to secure his control of the people and land. He rewarded his closest supporters with large areas of land to manage on his behalf. This is often referred to as a feudal system. There was a huge divide in England between the lives of the wealthy nobles and the lives of the peasantry. And I'm going to say that there has never been a time in history, and there never will be a time in history, where the lives of the rich and the lives of the poor are going to be anywhere similar. And the whole thing behind Marxism is to compare the lives of the rich with the lives of the poor and say that that's an imbalance that's caused by gender, color, or sexuality, or whatever bullshit they want to come up with, while ignoring the fact that there are wealthy people of all of those demographics and poor people of all of those demographics. But there we go. I just wanted to get quickly into the laws, so it means we'll have to skip a bunch of this stuff. And also get some coffee in me. Feudalism is a way of looking at how society is organised in medieval times. The phrase feudal system wasn't used at the time, but started to be used by historians from the 18th century onward to try to describe what life was like in the Middle Ages. So at the time, they didn't know that they were in a feudal system because there was no fucking term for it. It was just life. Feudalism is now thought to be quite simplistic way of looking at how medieval society worked, but it does give a starting point as to how power was spread across different groups of people. So it started off with a king at the top, and he was totally in control of everything. Whatever he said went, and he was not bound by the law. And the only way to change him was to have a war and get a different one. Beneath him, you've got the nobility, and basically they organized and managed everything. The knights fought for everybody. The pheasants, the peasantry, and there's two batches of peasantry. There are serfs and freemen. They worked for everybody, and there should have been between the king and the nobility, the clergy, because the church prayed for everyone. They have their own justice system and everything else. There you go. The king was top of society and therefore at the top of the feudal system. When he conquered England, King William took all the land in the country to manage as he gave large areas of lands to noblemen, including the clergy, lords, and barons. In return for them raising money and an army. Well, actually, he didn't give them to them, he rented them to them. So he says, here's this bunch of land, here's the amount of money I want for it, do with it what you will. All right, I'm going to skip to here. The peasants were the largest group in medieval society, making up over 90% of the population, and about 80% of that population at the early point would have been serfs and 20% freemen. And then as you move on through time, it comes to more freemen than serfs and no serfs. Some peasants were freemen and had more rights than, they're calling them feudals, but the correct name serfs. Peasants had few rights and little power of their own. However, as a collective group, they had potential to threaten the power of the king. This was shown in the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. And the feudal system meant that everyone in England, apart from the king, was a tenant. The barons or lords were given land directly to the king and were tenants in chief. So that's how the system worked. And the legal system was extremely harsh. We have trials by ordeal until that was banned, where they would put somebody's hand in the boiling water and they had a certain amount of days for the hand to begin to heal, and if it wasn't starting to heal properly, then they were guilty, and if it healed, then they were innocent, but they also had a really fucked up hand. So that's what we're starting to move away from. I'm just going to go into the studio. Oh, the wonderful Amaji's in. Oh, Mac loves Roof Pheasant. Sorry, just checking through the chat. Right, okay, we are all good. Holy shit, that's small. Anyway, so that's the system that we had, and then the Normans come in, and the Normans have been on power from 1066 up to the Magna Carta. It's roughly 3 generations, and the Magna Carta is the people starting to get a bit of change. And what I want to do now is fire up a Kipling poem about the Normans and the Saxons. So we're going to have a little bit of Kipling. Yep, here we go. That's it there. Found it. One second. Just getting this up now. Anglo, I knew you would. I knew you would indeed.
This poem is called Norman and Saxon. It's by a famous British poet called Rudyard Kipling, and it's about the differences between the Normans who invaded England in 1066 and the Anglo-Saxon people who they came to rule over. My son, said the Norman baron, I am dying, and you will be heir to all the broad acres in England that William gave me for share. When he conquered the Saxon at Hastings, and a nice little handful it is, but before you go over to rule it, I want you to understand this. The Saxon is not like us Normans. His manners are not so polite, but he never means anything serious till he talks about justice and right. When he stands like an ox in the furrow, with his sullen set eyes on your own, and grumbles, this isn't fair dealing, my son, leave the Saxon alone. You can horsewhip your Gascony archers, or torture your Picardy spears, but don't try that game on the Saxon, you'll have the whole brood round your ears. From the richest old thane in the county to the poorest chain serf in the field, they'll be at you and on you like hornets, and if you are wise, you will yield. But first you must master their language, their dialect, proverbs and songs. Don't trust any clerk to interpret when they come with the tale of their wrongs. Let them know that you know what they're saying, let them feel that you know what to say. Yes, even when you want to go hunting, hear 'em out if it takes you all day. They'll drink every hour of the daylight and poach every hour of the dark. It's the sport, not the rabbits they're after. We've plenty of game in the park. Don't hang them or cut off their fingers. That's wasteful as well as unkind. For a hard-bitten South Country poacher makes the best man at arms you can find. Appear with your wife and the children at their weddings and funerals and feasts. Be polite but not friendly to bishops. Be good to all poor parish priests. Say we, us and ours when you're talking, instead of you fellows and I. Don't ride over seeds, keep your temper, and never you tell 'em a lie.
Right, so that was just to give you an idea of the type of changes coming along. So what's happened is we've had Normans in power for a while, and it's pretty much like, imagine you work in a factory in those days. Imagine you work in a factory and all of a sudden you get new owners, or you work in a hospital and you get new bosses, or you work on a ship and you get new owners or whatever. And so you've still got to go there and do your job. At least people still had the tend their fields. They had to do everything that they needed to do. They were still there. They didn't disappear, but they had new overlords. So the Magna Carta comes out of round about 3 generations of petitioning and asking for better treatment, and that's where we'll go to. So here we'll go with the Magna Carta. And why do I get the feeling that this link's not going to work? Ah, it is. Thank you. Let's close that message. Right, get StreamYard up. Right, and this is coming from the the World History Encyclopedia. The Magna Carta, or the Great Charter, was an agreement imposed on King John of England, who ruled from 1199 to 1216. And bear in mind, 1066 was when the Normans took over, so we're 100 years bit after that. And also, it was on the 15th of June, which is why we're covering it tonight at the appropriate date. Okay. On the 5th, by rebellious barons, in order to limit his power and prevent arbitrary royal acts like land confiscation or unreasonable taxes. Right, so I forget who it was. I'm sorry, I forget who it was mentioned. This did more for the ruling class than it did for the lower class, but everything does trickle down eventually. Because whenever you taxed the nobility, their method of raising that money was taxing the peasantry. So you don't really want that. Henceforward, the king would have to consult a defined body of laws and customs before making such declarations. The Magna Carta ensured that all freemen were protected from royal officers and had the right to a fair trial. Now, a freeman's a peasant, but he's free to ply his trade where he wishes. The two classes of peasants are, you have serfs who are tied to the land, and you have freemen. So if you're a serf and the lord of the manor changes, the lord has gambled away all his money, has to sell his estate, somebody else comes in, that person comes basically with the land to work that plot of land, be he growing potatoes, barley, wheat, or tending cattle on it or whatever. But he has to do that on behalf of the nobleman of that house, and for the privilege he pays taxes, but then again he gets to stay in that protective place. Right now, a free man, he can jump ship and move from one estate to another, or if he's a woodworker or trains horses or whatever, he can go and ply his trade wherever he wants. This became particularly important after the plague, because whenever you cut the population by over a quarter, actually it's probably more than that, then labor becomes in short supply. And if you're a nobleman, you probably want to have all your workers to be serfs, but it's better for the peasantry to be freemen because they can ask for more wages because their skills more dependable and less supply. Sorry, that's that bit sorted out. So, so part of what the Magna Carta did was ensure that those people could. A lot of times, their legal problem would be being chased down by the person that they previously worked for, trying to claim that they were serfs and they couldn't just leave. So there was provisions in there to protect against that. Consequently, a charter became a symbol of the rule of law as the ultimate law of as the ultimate sovereign. So we've went from having a king who was ultimately in charge and could make decisions to there being a law. And whenever you've got set laws, then people at least have the possibility of being treated the same. You do the same thing, you expect the same punishment or reward if what you've done is a good thing. Although not entirely successful in its aims, the Charter did permit further constitutional developments in England in the subsequent centuries, and it provided inspiration for similar models of limited monarchy in other European states. So, this is the other thing that we need to really understand as people who would like to change the way their country works. You're not going to get everything you want in one bite. And what you're going to have to do is nibble the bit you can, accept that it's very, very small, and then come back and nibble again. And then nibble again, and then nibble again. And teach your children to keep doing the same fucking nibbling, because getting our country back to where it was is getting our country to where it was a very multi-generational process, and getting it back to that is going to be likewise. And with that, I'm going to check the chat. You live 10 hours, right? Prefer surf. Right, okay. Yep, we're all good. Exactly, Packer. This is a fucking long game, and it starts with us. You're going to have to I can agree with that, but unfortunately, the courts won't, which is a problem. We need to put the whole fucking system down. But anyway, I digress. Right. So we take chunk after chunk after chunk. So the background: King John, also known as John Lackland, has the unfortunate distinction of being one of England's most unpopular monarchs. Reigning from 1199, John had previously tried to wrest the throne from his brother and fellow Anglovan Richard I of England while he was abroad. Richard the Lionheart had been busy in the Holy Lands with the Third Crusade from 1189 to 1192. So not only were we having Vikings attacking us on around Britain all around this period, we were also fighting crusades. And Richard Lionheart was then captured by Henry the Sixth, the new Holy Roman Emperor, whilst on his return journey to England. So basically, the Pope tried to steal our king. John seized his chance and tried to claim the throne for himself, but in the ensuing civil war, forces loyal to Richard managed to hold on to such strategic castles as Windsor Castle and Nottingham, and John were defeated. So we've got another small civil war from us very tolerant people that we're always told we are. Eventually freed after the payment of an enormous ransom, Richard retook his rightful place on the throne of England in 1194. So we had to pay the Vatican basically to get our king back. As it turned out, Richard, in any case, without children of his own, nominated John as chief heir before his own death in battle in a quick time in April 1199. John might have got the crown had he had always wanted in 1189, but he had an immediate struggle to keep it. One memento, people. Right, sorry about that. In nominating John, Richard I had bypassed Prince Arthur, the son of John's older brother George. Arthur's claims were supported by Philip II of France, 1180 to 1223, who had battled with Richard in the previous decade over the Algarve controlled lands of France. John ordered the murder of Arthur in 1203, and Philip responded by conquering most of the Aquitaine in 1204-05. Being the king or the leader or at the top end of anything in these days seems to be quite a dangerous profession, because in order to get rid of you, your opponents could just have you knocked the fuck out. To add to his troubles, John also had a major spat with the church, disagreeing with Pope Innocent III over who should be the Archbishop of Canterbury. The king appointed his own man, and the Pope responded by encouraging Philip II to invade England. Right, so here we go. Here's part of the problem. The Vatican controlled the church to the point of you can't have your own archbishop. Now, the archbishop is charged with leading the religious makeup of the country and the doctrine to follow. So that's quite a important position. And do you want someone who is translate? If you're the king, do you want somebody that's translating the Bible on your behalf, or do you want it on behalf of the Pope? Whenever you put in your own person, the Pope gets the French to fucking invade you. In the meantime, the Pope ordered the closure of all churches in England and excommunicated John in 1209. All right, there's the other thing. Don't do what we say, we'll kick you the fuck out, and none of your people get the prey anymore. The idea that the king was chosen by God to rule, the so-called divine right of kings, was looking a little problematic for John to use as a basis for his authority now that the church had abandoned him. Well, that would be a bit of a problem. In 1213, John was forced to capitulate and accept the Pope's nomination for Archbishop. All right. John's oppressive regime, with its repeated acts of tyranny, his cavalier attitude to the divine right of kings in all matters, and his military failures, especially the loss of Normandy and the result of the 1214 Battle of Bombores. See, because once the Normans are in charge, they have also got the people who are running England are also running bits of France, which itself is not one entirety. There's different battling factions. Brought about major uprisings of the English barons. So the barons didn't like the way things was going, so they rose up, and whenever they rise up, they tell their employees that they're going to rise up too, because if you don't, you're not getting paid. Many of whom had lost their estates in France. So they have lost stuff in France, so they're taking right on the king in England. Worst of all was the incessant taxes John imposed, which he needed to pay for the campaigns against the French king. Wars are costly business, always was, always will be. As with Richard before him, John was not lacking in imagination in creating new forms of taxation or ways to fleece the rich so as to fill up the state coffers. The king increased certain taxes, such as those due when a noble's daughter was to be married, as well as those on towns and merchants. Interestingly, the king's taxing the nobleman whenever their daughter's getting married, and then the nobleman is taxing the peasants whenever their daughter's getting married, if they allow it to happen at all. The tax payable in order to receive an inheritance was also increased. The crown confiscated the lands of those nobles who died without heirs, and the same policy was applied to the church lands. Right, so your church land, your church goes out of use because you haven't got enough parishioners. Yeah, we'll just take that land back. You die, you don't have any heirs. The crown will just take that land. Now, they're doing the same thing with the working class people at the minute, because if you own your house and then you have to win the care home, they extract that money from you via the care homes, and then somebody's got the house, it's not you. And that is removing the intergenerational wealth. Because the other thing is, if you don't have a director, you could give it to nieces, nephews, whatever. But no, they're saying no. If it's not your director, you're fucked. Another particularly contentious decision was for the king to move many legal cases from the baron's own courts to his royal ones, although the process had actually started during the reign of John's father, Henry II. So there was courts up in place, but he had his own star chambers, and he decided that I'm going to make this crime go to my court only, and then he gets to decree the outcome. The barons gained the handy income from court fines, so fewer cases meant a drop in their revenue. With all these factors combining to create a deeply unpopular monarch, I'm sorry, people, I don't know what's up in my throat tonight, but it's a little dry. The barons demanded constitutional reform. The barons, instead of forming armies to help their king regain Normandy, as he requested, acted collectively and marched to London, where their numbers were swelled by discontented merchants. So we have a ruler in charge of the country that isn't doing what we want. We rise up and we go against them. And with the barons in control of London, and a number of them even recounting their oath of allegiance to the king, and instead supporting a nobleman, Robert Fitzwalter, from 1162 to 1234. I'm going to have to look into him. And I'm taking a screenshot to remind me, because this is something I don't know about. More research. John had little choice but to give in to their demands. The barons thus obliged the king to sign the Magna Carta in 1215, upon which a constitution was based that curbed the power of the monarch and protected the rights of the barons. And also, by the way, protected the rights of the free man and the serf by default. The Magna Carta was signed and sealed by King John at Runningdale, just outside London, in June 1215. The document set out the limit of the royal power, including agents of the king's authority, such as sheriffs. So he could no longer just send out people and say, this is a law I just decreed, go you and enforce it. Everything had to be thrashed out and organised properly. Which seemed to have been growing without check in previous decades. The Magna Carta contained 63 clauses, which set out the following key changes. It defines the limits of royal power over the people according to the established feudal principles. It obliged the monarch to consult the barons in a great council before levying taxes, which is the forerunner of the Parliament. Now, did the Magna Carta give us what we wanted, which was the ability to elect the people who make all the decisions in the country? No, it did not. But it's the first step in that direction. It guaranteed all freemen, but not serfs, protection from royal officers. Here's the thing. The serfs were not being prosecuted for the same things that the freemen were. Most of the things that the freemen were getting prosecuted for and were getting protection from was previous employers trying to claim that they had to go back and work for them. So the serfs didn't really need that. But it did also give the ability for courts to rule on whether someone was a serf, a free man, or somewhere in between, whereby he was, to all intents and purposes, a free man, but he had to do 10 days service at the manor per year. So the courts would have adjudicated on that for serfs also. It gave all freemen the right to fair legal process if they faced criminal charges, standardized them and took away the punishment by ordeal or trial by ordeal. It permitted merchants to travel into and out of England without restriction. Sounds a bit open bordery to me. It stipulated that widows did not have to pay anything to receive their husband's estate, and that they were not forced to remarry. Oh, interesting. This could be the earliest single-gender legal protection that I know about. So there you go. Although, to be fair, you would obviously want anything that you have to go to your wife. So that's because she's going to need it. It's perhaps important to remember that in 13th century England, freemen constituted less than 25% of the population. And in any case, the barons were not concerned with them, but rather their own position. The primary aim of the Magna Carta then was to ensure the king did not impinge on the rights of the feudal lords. I believe that's open to debate, and I also think that the people who wrote this article don't like the upper class. That doesn't, be that as it may, it doesn't really give you the right to change fucking history. But there you go. Because Magna Carta did work for the peasantry as well. This was expressed by the barons explicitly insisting on their involvement in the system of taxation and their independence in building, inhabiting, and controlling castles. They had to talk to the barons about taxation because they were the people that got taxed. To ensure the king did what he had signed to do, a committee of 24 barons was formed to monitor his rule thereafter. However, the fair acceptance of Magna Carta did not appease all rebel barons, and neither did King John turn himself into a constitutional sovereign overnight. I'm going to be talking about our constitutional monarchy a bit later on because that's relevant. And this is where becoming a constitutional monarchy began. Indeed, he repudiated the charter before his royal seal had barely had time to harden. The barons did not fulfill their side of the bargain either, and refused to hand over London until John implemented the terms in the charter. It was a stalemate situation. John appealed to Pope Innocent III, who, in a turnaround of policy and support, declared the Magna Carta illegal and invalid in the papal bull. So, I think what the Pope's worried about is if they get this in England, people might start to question his power. There followed between 1215 and 1217 a series of conflicts known as the Baron Wars. There would be others later in the century. Some barons even supported Prince Louis, the future King Louis VIII of France. However, the rebels were heavily defeated in the Battle of Lincoln in May 1217, and the First Baron War came to an end with the Treaty of Kingston-on-Thames in September 1217. Although neither of the barons nor King John had wholly adhered to the terms of Magna Carta, it was confirmed in 1225 by John's son and successor Henry VIII on his coronation, perhaps even as a condition of it. Although hardly causing an immediate swing from the absolute monarchy to a constitutional government, the Magna Carta nevertheless was a major step on that road, and certainly it prevented future English kings and queens ruling entirely as an absolute monarch. Now, here's what I'm finding interesting. We have Henry VIII going to be coming into power soon, who will break with the Church of Rome. But this is prior to that, and we have problems with the King of England and the Pope. So that was not just a fracas that set up just about that divorce. That was something that has been building up, and the King of England and successive kings of England have went, I need to decide whether I'm going to run the country or whether the Pope is, and it was settled by Henry VIII. So legacy. In subsequent centuries, the Magna Carta became a rallying point for all future calls to curb the power of monarchs in England and elsewhere, and these movements eventually led to the formation of such now familiar institutions like Parliament. Because if the king's not going to rule totally on his own, you're going to need a body of people to rule for him. Ensuring that the rule of monarch was, at least to some degree, conducted according to the wishes and benefit of their subjects. The Magna Carta has even been the inspiration for many more recent documents and declarations, which have set out the principles of law and government. These include the 1791 United States Bill of Rights and the 1984 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And as a quick side note, for everybody was panicking about losing out on the Universal Declaration of Human Rights if we dip out of the European Union or the European Courts of Justice or whatever and leave that. We ain't losing anything. We have more rights before that fucking declaration come in. Anyway, back in Britain, for the charters, 4 of the charter's clauses are still valid as English law, the others having been repealed or superseded by later legislation. These are the clauses protecting the independence of the church, another clause protecting certain rights of London and other towns. I wonder would they mean the city of London? And the most famous part of all, the charter nowadays, clauses number 39 and 40. No free man shall be seized or imprisoned or stripped of his rights or other possessions, were outlawed or exiled, or deprived of his standing in any other way. Nor will we proceed with force against him or send others to do so, except by the lawful judgment of his equals or by the law of the land. No one will be no to no one will we sail, to no one deny or delay. To no one will we sail, to no one deny or delay the right to justice. Right, so you can't buy justice, is what they're saying here. You've got to go through the court system, and you're not allowed to bribe the judge. Today, there are 4 existing copies of the Magna Carta, with 2 in British libraries in London, 1 in Salisbury Cathedral, and another in Lincolnshire Castle. And I'm going to close that down now and have a look in the chat. Yeah, this is true. It is a long time ago. Welsh Ripper, what about you, Sean? Glad to have you aboard. We marry our cats. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Yeah, discontented merchants, they have a tendency to rise up. Yep, said what about you, Sean? Right, that's it. We're on. We're on an hour. This is good. Now, so what I'm going to do now, before we get too excited, I believe Longshanks was after, quite a bit, a couple of generations after, but I'm not 100% sure. Here's the other thing, which I've noticed, and it's also happening on this fucking channel, but whenever we go to learn history, we learn chunks. We learn, right, like tonight we're talking about the Magna Carta. I'm not intending to give you a fucking full-on education, give you a rough idea and somewhere to start digging. Don't claim to be a professor. But then there's other times we've did about cheese rolling and the traditions behind that, how it came about. And we did a stream about the Battle of Trafalgar. What we seem to not do in this country is put everything in its correct fucking order. And then go, this followed on from this, followed on from this, which is why I have no fucking clue exactly where Longshanks was. However, what I'm hoping to do is put together the events that happened in the Kings and Queens, build a timeline, and put that there so we can fling that up whenever you have questions like this and go, blah, blah, blah. And I think that would give us a better understanding of history if we have it like basically what we're doing. The only way I've ever consumed history is get a random chapter here and there. Chapter 10, chapter 56, chapter 2. But what I want to try to do with British history is, and with this show, is to have something that, even if in the playlist where you can go, right, this goes from bump, 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 from the first king to the current king and events and stuff. That's the plan, hopefully, with this madness. Right. There's Amanda Lee's in. Glad to have you. Roy Herbert has seen a copy of the Magna Carta in Salisbury Cathedral. It even has its own room for display. It bloody well should. Right. Where was it? Right. Now, another thing I want to talk about is our constitutional monarchy and the rule of the king and queen. Because this is yes, that's all I was going to say. Oh, Mac Chum, you still awake? Because I'm going to bring you on in a little bit. I just want to check you're still awake. Right, where was it? Yes, the rule of the monarchy in a constitutional democracy. There we go. And this is from Royal UK. All looks very official. So here we go. The monarchy is the oldest form of government in the United Kingdom. In a monarchy, a king or a queen is the head of a state. The British monarchy is known as a constitutional monarchy. This means that while the sovereign is head of state, the ability to make and pass legislation resides with an elected parliament. I'm going to say this again because a lot of people do not seem to get this, right? In a monarchy, a king or queen is head of state. That's an absolute monarchy where the king or queen can go. This is going to, from tomorrow, we're going to ban blue socks. And throughout the land, blue socks are banned for no reason other than the king decided. That's the level of power that there is in an absolute monarchy. However, we do not have that. Oh, I've got a better idea. I need to fix that analogy. Okay. In an absolute monarchy, the king has absolute power, or the queen, if it's the queen in power. And the king could say, henceforth from tomorrow, all bananas that are being sold shall not exceed a certain length, and they shall not have a beyond a certain degree of bend. And all bananas will be standardized. And that would be the law. And then whenever you went to the shops, all the bananas would be that size and shape. All bananas that were not like that would not be allowed to be sold here. And that would be the end of it in an absolute monarchy. But we don't have that. The British monarchy is what is known as a constitutional monarchy. That means that while the sovereign is head of state, the ability to make and pass legislation resides with an elected parliament, which means that we, the people, which is going to happen on the 4th of July, go to the polling station and we elect our leaders. And those leaders make and pass the laws. And in order to pass the laws, they've got to debate them. They've got to consult with the public. They've got to do a lot of things. Then it's got to go up to the Lords. Then it's got to come back down. And then they've got to vote on it. And if the majority of the elected parliamentarians say yes, then that becomes a law. Now, those people like that also take legislation from the European Union. Even though we have left the European Union, they still take the legislation that the European Union has passed down for no other, like all bananas shall be a certain length and a certain degree of bend, or the straw shall not be made of plastic, or The knives and forks on a takeaway shall not be plastic, which is another law that the EU produced, that the British government in England and Scotland and Wales, that is no longer part of the European Union, just decided to pass into their laws anyway. Because, well, fuck having an elected parliament. Sorry, not the word. Although the sovereign is Although the sovereign no longer has a political or executive role, he or she continues to play an important part in the life of the nation. They do indeed, because what happens is we have a professional statesperson that we can wheel out as a head of state. Bear in mind, if we did not have a king and queen, we would have had Theresa May as head of state, Boris Johnson, Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak. Take your fucking pick, people. Are there any of those people you want to be representing you on the world stage? Heaven for we have the possible of Diane Bastard Abbott getting that job with the way things are. So maybe having a professional in the job that you can roll out is a good idea. As head of state, the monarch undertakes constitutional representational duties, which have developed over 1,000 years of history. In addition, these state duties, the monarch has a less formal role as head of the nation. The sovereign acts as a focus for national identity, unity, and pride, and gives a sense of stability and continuity, officially recognizes success and excellence, and supports the ideal of a voluntary service. One quite interesting thing, the idea of having a king or queen as head of state that is not party political, that the idea is that if you're on the right, if you're on the left, you can set that aside and still support your head of state. And it's a way of bringing the country together and keeping us as British people together in the same way that the four countries, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, have their own individual thing, and within that you can have light-hearted disagreements and whatnot. But if there's a threat to the whole, they can come together. That's the idea. However, it would seem that the left has spent a very lot of time attacking the royal family to the point where it's only where it no longer unifies because the left has just made it so. Right, I'm going to close that up and I'm going to look at the chat. Sorry, I'm just checking through the chat. Right, okay, nothing really there. What else was I going to do? There was something else, I know. Yes, other things happening this week is it's the king's birthday, and that's not the link I was expecting. One momento, sorry people. Right, one momento. Right. Okay, we're That's not happening. So we are going to watch a little bit of Trooping of the Colour, which is an annual event. Whenever I get this up. Yep, I think we're going to watch about the first couple of minutes of this. One momento. Yes, and your birth certificate should say English. My birth certificate, I would say, is Northern Irish. But there's nothing stopping you being both British and English. But you are English first. One momento. Right, I shall get this up. Our nationality is English, Scottish, Welsh, or Northern Irish. Yep, the Act of Union 1707 and then 1801. Packet says barking, Trooping of the Colour. Right. A little bit about Trooping of the Colour. That is up.
Think of all the things that come to mind when you hear the words Great Britain, and chances are you'll find many of them on a Saturday in June at the Trooping the Colour ceremony. This military spectacle, which marks the official birthday of the King or Queen, is the sort of event the United Kingdom does best. Pomp, pageantry, music, gun salutes, flag-waving crowds, soldiers in bearskin caps, and the extended royal family at Buckingham Palace, all tied up with red, white and blue smoke trails. Trooping the Colour is believed to have started as a practice to ensure soldiers could easily spot their unit in the heat and chaos of battle. Different regiments of the British Army carried their own flags, or colours, on the battlefield. The colours used to be trooped in front of the soldiers every day to make sure they could recognise their regiment. The ceremony of Trooping the Colour is believed to have first been performed for King Charles II, who reigned between 1660 and 1685. It was first used to mark the monarch's official birthday in 1748, during the reign of King George II, and became an annual tradition under his successor, George III. But we were still some way off from the ceremony that we recognise today. Horse Guards Parade, on the opposite side of St James's Park from Buckingham Palace, wasn't used for Trooping the Colour until 1805. Further changes took place at the start of the 20th century under Edward VII. He was the first monarch to regularly receive the royal salute in person. It was also Edward who was responsible for the monarch having 2 official birthdays. The reason for this is a typically British one. Edward VII was born in November, but decided to keep the official birthday ceremony in May or June because the weather would be better. As it happened, though, 3 Trooping the Colour ceremonies were cancelled during his reign due to bad weather. Finally, the parade has been held on a Saturday in June every year since 1959, with the exception of 2022, which was held on a Thursday during Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Elizabeth attended every Trooping the Colour ceremony during her 70-year reign, with the exception of just one. In 1955, her birthday parade had to be cancelled due to a train strike.
Number 10 Downing Street to review the latest developments in the railway dispute and to make plans.
Right. I think that's about all that we can get away with. Right. Almac, if you're still awake and about, do you want to jump in on that link? Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to send you a message. Right. There we go. All right. Yep. Jump in on that link anytime you want, mate. And we will talk about our other stuff. And what else did I have? I had other stuff. No, that's about all of that. And we're going to have a short. There he is. What about you, chum?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes. Sound good.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'm all good. Almost recovered from the long drive and the extended drive and the diversions and all that shit, but that doesn't matter.
Yes. For those of you who don't know, Al Mac last week came over to our little bit of the country. Oh, we'll get some. We will have some music going shortly. Oh, there's music coming. Yes, Al Mac was over for a bit of a glamping stay, and Emma G and I went up and met Al and Ali C, and we had a fucking wonderful time. It was really nice.
Indeed. No, it's fantastic. I just want to say this to everyone in the chat. Hi to everyone in the chat. Now, I've known 42 for a while, and we've made some tracks together. I know what 42 looks like, and I know his real name, and I have done for quite some time. But when I met him and spent a couple of days with him, what you see is what you get. This guy, you know, when I'm with him, I just thought, well, this 42's in the room. He's just no different, you know, just absolutely no different. But except probably a bit lighter and a bit funnier. Honestly, you and Emma, lovely people, absolutely lovely people. It was a pleasure to spend time with you guys. Honestly.
Man, that was so nice. That was really so nice. You and Ollie say it was a lot funnier. we had a lot of very funny conversations about God knows what. Brown Laminate being one of them.
You know what? That was one of those sort of stone conversations that started out of nowhere, and I was, what the fuck is he talking about? And it was a complete wind up. So we did. Like, I just want to warn everybody: if you ever meet Emma, lovely Emma, don't accept any of her baking without a glass of cold milk, and just you know.
Are you alluding to the fact that we might have had some
spicy cakes?
We might have had some buns that were a little dry.
They were very, very dry.
They were very, yeah, sort of glue your mouth together. But yeah, we did. We did partake of the space cakes, and it was funny as fuck.
They glued your brains together as well.
Yeah.
No, they were spot on. They were subtle, but it was funny. And I haven't seen my Mrs. Ali laughing like that for ages. She had proper lockjaw, stoned laughing going on there. It was fucking hilarious, man. It's just great.
I've figured out that laughing could be the way to get a six pack because my whole sides were actually sore. We laughed.
It takes a lot of energy, and you hurt afterwards without a doubt.
Well, will we make these people jealous and give them a little bit of a video of the place you were staying at?
Yeah, let's do it, because if anyone else is thinking, right, of going over to Northern Ireland or honestly, or this kind of doing this kind of holiday is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, go for it. If you've got a little
Yep.
video there of
Yeah.
where I was, we'll say.
Yep. Right, hold on. I'm going to take us out of that so as it goes to full size. And then check out this view. All right, I can close that up now. Let's take that down. Yep, it did. Absolutely
Yeah,
gorgeous.
there was a little bit of audio on there, and
Yeah.
you can just see me in the kitchen, and you
Just
were in the
about.
kitchen as well. I don't know where Emma was, but we're preparing something.
Yeah.
That's
We,
pretty cool. Really good fun.
that was us getting barbecue ready. Yes. Absolutely beautiful. Had really good time, both the two of us. So there's that. What else was I going to say? My head's right with here. Fuck. Yep. So, yeah, we could really recommend that place to go to if you want somewhere to go glamping. How did you find that little part of Northern Ireland?
Well, that's one of the reasons that I.
Oh, here, Packer. Hold on.
No, come on, man. You misspelled cooks. Come on. What was cuts? What?
We were barbecuing. We were cooking with fire. That's man stuff.
Thank you, Packer. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. It was, yeah. Couple of cuts there. Right. That's what I wanted to come and talk about, really, because it was a real eye opener. Been to Northern Ireland before, done a tour of the whole, island of Ireland, the Emerald Isle. What is it called?
Yeah, Ireland.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, just reading
don't
that there.
say.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really, really hit me was how nice that area was, and all the people that we met and spoke to were really, really relaxed, friendly, and it was a completely different experience from being back in the mainland. I can't. It's so hard to explain. It was a slower pace, which you expect. And I know it's not. I know it's sort of like we're on the coast and it's a nice area, but the houses, the streets, all the sort of shops.
Ask about the cornerstones.
I will ask about the cornerstones. Button in there. It was just so nice, and a complete culture shock from mainland UK. I cannot express how much it was. The people just so more relaxed, and there was no diversity whatsoever in down there. It was just bizarre. Cannot explain it. Absolutely loved it.
See, here's the thing. That there's a lot of here that's still 1974. Or 1979, say. I go whenever I arrive in Newcastle, which is just at the bottom of Moor Mountains. I can't see anything different from whenever I was going there as a kid.
No.
It just hasn't changed.
No, that says a lot, and you can see that. It was such. There's no litter. Everything was just perfect. Everything was just lovely and set out right. Like there was a lot of pride in the area. You see like old couples hand in hand sitting on a bench on the like bench. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, evening bigots, exactly. Sitting there on the coast, hand in hand, just everyone's so relaxed. Everyone will talk to you. That is a bit weird if you come from the London area. You're sort of like, what are these people talking to me? That is a bit of a mind fuck if you come from anywhere sort of near London. But everyone's so cool, just lovely people, just so relaxed. I can't. It was 15 years ago, I'll say, that we did a whole sort of like motorbike tour of Ireland. the island of Ireland, of course, what I'm saying. So we started in Cork, ended up right up in Portrush, right up north. And it was great. But I think what's happened, what was more noticeable wasn't that it was mainland England, UK, has gone downhill so much. And I think that was the thing that made such a massive impact on me and my Mrs. Ali. We really, really noticed it. And as soon as she was on Zoopla looking for houses for sale,
Oh fuck!
Seriously, we're thinking of moving over. So we'll be paying off the mortgage in about February next year. We'll be paying off the mortgage. We'll be mortgage free, and we'll be able to go probably, pretty much wherever we want. And we're seriously looking at around that sort of area of Northern Ireland. Now she has some Irish ancestry from Cork.
Yeah.
But she felt like being on the island, so she's half Irish, half British.
Yeah.
And she felt that Northern Ireland was the most sort of like at home place to be. And I felt more at home there than I have done when I've been to Scotland. And I've been to Scotland a fair bit in the last 10 years. And I felt less and less at home there. It's just become too woke and cucked. Thanks, Packer, for putting that word in my head. It's definitely cups. Yeah, so we are looking at it, mate. We are seriously looking at it. Yeah.
I'm flabbergasted. Well, you've got two friends to start with. Yeah. Me and Amit G will be there for your housewarming.
Yeah, no one else will be.
Yeah.
But that's fine. No, I'll be happy with that, mate. I'll be happy with that, honestly. Absolutely wicked.
That's just blew me out of the water. And what was I need to liken this? You did send me a little video, which I should be able to get up.
Which is it the Aldi one?
Yes, the Aldi one.
Okay, right, just okay. This is funny. It's very, very. It's just a short, and I just I know the video wasn't actually in Aldi, but we have an Aldi in Lidl near us, and we use them. The great sort of barbecue places, cheap booze or whatever. And we found an Aldi and a Lidl in that area of Northern Ireland. And the difference, and I think this will explain it, was when you're in an Aldi in England, you have to put all your stuff on the conveyor belt because you know that you have to put it in a certain order, make sure that the lighter breakable stuff like eggs and bread and stuff like that are going to go last because it's going to come so quickly that you won't have time to organise it in your bag. I know this is boring stuff, people talking about shopping, but this is quite funny, this little video. And it just, and the difference was in Northern Ireland, in the same shops, everything was like slowed down by like down to a quarter. The assistants will be chatting to you and they'll be just gently putting stuff through, just friendly, none of this fucking firing everything through. So just stick that video up just for the laugh.
Right, hold on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it up. Get it the show, because, right. How do I do this? It's not giving me a download option. Wait. Hold on. All right, got it now. Right.
It's just for a bit of fun, people.
Yeah. Right. Hold on. Right, here we go. Sorry.
Like, this is like Aldi or Lidl in Luton.
Yep. Got it. Here we go. That's fucking hilarious.
So if you slow that down to about 10% speed, that'd be like it is in Northern Ireland. There is a little bit of a sort of manana thing about it, which I love. It's a different pace. It's a different pace of life, and it's evocative. I have to tell you, man.
You don't go to the shop for what you're after here. You go to the shop for what you want and a conversation. That's where you find it whatever's happening. Whenever you're talking to the checkout person, it's weird, but it's good.
Yeah, everyone's just really friendly. It's on another level of how do I put it? Just a relaxed atmosphere, a friendly atmosphere, a sort of non-judgmental. I'm sure I'm sure it has its moments. If you go down to Newry, I see a couple of Palestine flags and that down there.
Yes,
but it's quite clear where to avoid.
Oh yes,
and where not. It's everything's clear, and we'll see that in the parade.
Yes.
I've got a little clip of the parade that I went to.
Yes, you got to see your first band parade. What did you make of it?
Right, I'm absolutely honest. When I only shot about 50 seconds.
Yeah.
About 4 bands you'll see here. There are about 10 or 12 bands, and the reason that I only took a very, very short clip, which is understandable, was I was very close to where they were starting out. So I'd parked where everybody else had parked, and they were starting out. Then the police had shut the road, and they were going down that main road down to the Orange Order Lodge.
Yep.
And it started with the Orange Order guys. Then all the other bands came down. So everyone would be lining the streets, and I felt like, because I think the people knew that I wasn't local, I was a stranger. If I have a slight tan, I don't look like I come from Northern Ireland anyway. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, so I started filming, and I was trying to do it discreetly. And I saw that nobody else was. And there's another guy that stood next to me, and he got his camera out and took a picture or so. And you might just see that in the video.
Yeah.
And I thought, and a couple of the people in the band's waiting to come out. So you can imagine when you've got about 10 or 12 marching bands, what they do, they go out and they start. Then they leave it about a minute. Then the next marching band comes out. So because they're playing a different stuff, completely different tunes. Yeah. One might be, lots of snare drums and drums. Another one might be bagpipes. Another one might be whistles and pipes and that. And what really, really struck me with this was when I saw this coming out, when I saw them coming out and starting off, I had fucking goosebumps, man. I said that to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I had goosebumps, and it was like, wow, this is, and there'll be young kids there.
Yeah.
Some of them have been in a band, some will be following the band where they're from, and you're gonna have to tell me about how so many bands, where did they come from?
Oh,
Because I don't, but there was a lot of people, and I'm sure they didn't all come from that area,
right.
but it was. Sorry, just before you tell me, it was fucking awesome. It was honestly fucking awesome to witness them and to hear those bands live when you're standing right next to it. And when they're hitting those big bass drums, right, I was like, fuck. When they were playing in a live band, you'd have to put that through a 2,000 watt PA with subs to give you that kick in the guts with that sort of low end. I think, how come there's so much fucking low end on those big bass drums and they're hitting them? And it honestly gave me goosebumps, and it was awesome, right, honestly. So,
Right. What we'll do now is we'll play the video, and then we'll go through it, which will give everybody an idea of what we're talking about. But I wanted to try that before we did that. So let's see.
yeah, apologies, it was so short.
Oh no! It's fine, mate. No, it's perfect because
Yeah.
you've got a good mix of different bands and stuff.
There was loads more than there was in this video. I'll come back to it.
Right, hold on. Get this back to the start.
So there's your orange order
Yep.
guys at the front there. You've got some audio on that.
Is the audio not coming through?
No.
Right, hold on. Right, I'm going to stop that. Hold on. Yes, sorry. We'll get it now with the audio. Bagpipes. So,
Yeah, coffee.
right.
That honestly, that was loud when you're standing right next to it. It was loud,
Right.
and it was stirring. I have to say, it was stirring. Yeah, Anglo-Saxon, absolutely,
Yep.
mate. It's amazing.
Right. Yep. I'm going to come on the uniforms in a minute. Right. First off, all of those bands came from that local area within 30 miles.
Really,
Yeah.
that's a lot of people. That was a lot of people, on that parade.
Right.
You only saw a tiny bit of that.
Yep. Nah. Here's the next interesting thing. What's you reckon for one of those uniforms?
Oh, I got no idea. No idea.
Take your wildest guess.
Possibly £400, maybe.
Yeah, they're about $1,000.
Jeez, these people are serious about this as well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
something else. Another point I want to make about it is everyone knows that I'm a musician, right? Everyone knows that. I'm telling you, and I'm telling everyone in the chat, that every one of those marching bands, their musicianship was absolutely fucking spot on. Absolutely spot on. They are brilliant. The drummers were completely in time, completely in sync with each other. I heard nothing out of tune. I heard nothing flat. These people were taking that shit seriously.
Right. Now, the other thing is, did you notice anything that would be remotely hate-filled? Because apparently,
No.
apparently, people turning up like that is bigoted.
Yeah, even bigots.
Yeah, right. It's fuck. They're playing hymns for fuck's sake, right? So the uniforms are about £1,000. The flutes are probably 3. Side drums are about 500. Bass drums about £1,000. Whenever you count in the skin and the painting and all that.
They're fucking loud. I couldn't believe how loud they were standing next to them.
Yeah. Oh, they're a good job.
I cannot believe it.
Oh, wait till you hear a lambeg. We have bigger bass drums than that. We have a whole size higher up than that with bass drums, but they don't come with a band. They just beat the drum, a lambeg drum. Do you know how much government money's involved in any of that?
Probably none.
Not one penny.
Yeah.
All
don't surprise me.
all of that is self-funded through the community. Now, one of the bands that were out that night, the Born Young Defenders, they were at a parade down my way tonight. Similar sort of thing to what you saying, because it was a band parade, it wasn't a lodge parade. 105 bands.
Bloody hell.
But they did come from everywhere. Like that's that's not just Belfast. That's Newcastle came from everywhere to go to this parade. But there's a lot of it about.
See what really amazed me. I'm surprised that you're saying that they're all from local. Because I pulled up there into the lay-by where the police had stopped the road. And I asked the cop, said, "Is there anywhere I can park?" And they said, "Yeah, go down, see the marshal, and he'll direct you." So I went over this little bridge where I was directed to into a field, and the fucking cars in there. It's like there was a festival on or something like that. It's amazing.
Well, it is a festival.
It is. The amount of culture going on there. And I think that was but apart from the musicality of it and the drums and the volume of it, I think it was really the display, absolute non-intimidated display of culture that just blew me away. And I wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
To feel that way.
We'll have to get you over next July.
Yeah.
show you a big full-on parade.
Big one. Yeah.
And also, you think those bass drums are loud there in that big open space? Wait till you hear them on a city street where it's bouncing off the tall buildings on either side of you. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. No, that's, and people got to remember that was just in like a little very small town going from a small town country lane
Yep.
down to the Orange Lodge.
See what?
And I loved it that there was children there. There were kids following behind the bands. There were kids in the bands, and the way that the culture is being preserved, I just thought, completely admirable. Completely admirable. There's nothing like that over here on the mainland. Absolutely nothing. It made an absolute disgrace of what we're like in England. An absolute fucking disgrace. I cannot. Honestly, it really hit home. Really hit home. I cannot stress that enough.
Well, there's Orange Lodges and badges and bands in Liverpool. There's Orange Lodges and bands dotted about England, here, there, and wherever, but it's very few and far between. The difference is because here and also in Scotland, there's a big parade up in the Highlands coming up. Because that's where this culture comes from. There's obviously a lot more of it. Then what happens is all those local bands all go to that one, go to that one parade, and then in the break, the different bands, their captains and whatnot, come out, and then they can discuss any issues they have with parading around that area that year, and then they come up with whenever there's any complaints or whatever, they've got a united front. And also, as Linda said, the little kid following along and get the kids involved and keep the next generation.
Yeah. Exactly. Like Roy says, bigoted bagpipers.
Yeah, bigoted bagpipers. Yeah. You're saying you're strangling that cat in a sectarian manner.
Funny enough, I didn't get to see the ones with the bagpipes. I think they didn't start the bagpipes to have done the right a little bit.
They probably weren't allowed to start them.
No, I'm not. Being Scottish heritage.
Yeah,
I'm not a massive fan of bagpipes. And I do like, don't hate me for this, but I do like the Irish, Indian pipes. But, don't hold that against me. But the Scottish bagpipes can be a bit of a fucking joke, can't we?
Well, I'll tell you what I do love, the piping drummers. Like the stuff that Regs's brother does. The fancy bagpipe drumming is fucking immense.
That's right. I saw a couple of bands that's basically pipes and drums. Yeah, and that was brilliant. Really stirring. Cannot say strong enough how stirring that was.
So the other thing, since we're talking about culture, we're coming up to the end of the show. That thing that we've got in Northern Ireland with the marching bands, we didn't get it by asking permission. And we didn't get it by waiting for other people to do it for us. Now, this is what I'm coming to think. My thinking at the moment is, if the British people want to have a culture that's exclusive, if they want to have stuff that we do, our choices are to start to go back and take part in all the old customs, which isn't necessarily. Well, here's the thing. Each area, all individually, had its own wee traditional customs, and if you came from there, you went and took part in that. It was something that affected you maybe 2-3 days a year. Is what your culture stuff. The rest of the time, you'd have been just going along as a British person, doing your shopping, doing your work and whatnot. If we want to have a functioning British culture, we're going to have to do it ourselves. We're going to have to, I don't know, summer solstice is coming up. Everybody,
Yeah.
gather your family and friends, sit out all night, do it in your garden. And then maybe at some stage, we'll get to a point where we've got groups of people that are doing a similar thing and they can all do it together or individually on the same beach. But if we want to have a British culture and tradition that's preserved, we're going to have to do it ourselves. We're going to have to get involved.
We are going to get involved. You make a great point there. And what I want to add really is that if you think about what we sort of like just throwing away, giving away.
Oh,
and we have been for so long. We have been for so long. So, yeah, you know, we will sort of hang out. What you see a lot of people in the chat here will be in the same chat as like Sensum's chat or DJ's chat or, you know, Bonnie Lad, Dangerfield or whatever. We'll hear, see a lot of the same names. We'll hear, yeah, you know, we have a circle.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, we have our own lives, but we think that we exist in this sort of like dark, damp little corner of the internet. And there'll be a few glowy fuckers that are, you know, infiltrating as well, that listening in. Don't think for a second here, just because this is like a small group, there won't be these glowy fuckers that, you know, on the case. They will. But we don't just have to be hanging out here. You know, that's great, right? Because we're sharing ideas. We're talking about things. We're talking with like-minded people that agree with 98% of, you know, what we all agree with. We're talking about it, and we can hang out here. It's like a friendly place. But we have to do more. We have to do more than that, and we have to do what I know that like Packer and Steve Cray have done. They've met up and spent time together. Cheers, Anglo. Nice one, mate. Me and you, Emoji, and my missus have met up and done it. I know IRL in real life. It's like a phrase that's it's like too cheesy to use anymore. I don't know what it is. You don't hear people using that phrase like IRL anymore. People, you have to understand that IRL, right, is essentially where it's at. That is what we have to do. Right, that's what the Woodlander, I know he's gone now, so he won't hear this. But you know what he's doing is amazing because he's creating spaces that people can go and meet up. And honestly, we're hanging out here and it's cool. It's a safe place. Blah blah blah. But we have to. And how many times have I heard even like Dawn Browning, even in Australia? I've seen so many times where she's said in the chat, "Oh, if you're ever over here, let me know. You can come and stay here."
Yeah,
that's what we. That's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be doing, people. Not just talk. There's nothing wrong with talking about the shit that's going on, but like we first really sort of connected after you had me on the first stream.
Yeah,
talking about my music career, blah blah blah, whatever. You know, a bit of a distraction.
You know what?
All great.
It was the Monday Club that did it.
Money Club, yeah.
It was like, holy fuck! He's wrote a song about the Monday Club. I need to talk to this person.
Yeah. He knows what's going on over there.
And then we get on like a house on fire. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. So exactly. So you sent me a poem, but sort of inspired by some of the things that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And we ended up creating 3 tracks that went on an album. Now that's art. That's in real life. That's art.
Yeah.
That's out there. People can download that. People can listen to that. There's videos of that. You know, I
have another radical thought on that. Folk songs do not have to be sung in a bar with sawdust on the floor and a guitar. We can
with
have
a acoustic guitar. Yeah.
Yeah, we can have our folk tunes for the 2020s in the same
Yeah,
way that we can have our culture for the 2020s, where we lean on what our people did in the past and we make it of this era.
yeah. You put one of the lyrics about harmony, melody, rhyme. You're talking about modern day Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Now, I know that you weren't talking about you, but it could be you, and it could be anybody, right?
yes,
It could be you. You have to understand. We have to create culture now. If we use drum and bass, if we're using technology, drum and bass, all right. So eat the bugs as a bit drum and bassy. Not really my thing, but it was fun doing it, and it works for that track, didn't it? But we have to be creating our own culture here now. We have to be. It's a fight back, mate. It's a fight back.
yeah. And you know, the other thing you've got to realize is that the traditions that we have, what you're seeing is like, see those bands, the way those bands are turned out. That's something that began 300 years ago with
Yeah,
marching bands
yeah,
and constantly improving them. Uh, in the 1970s, those bands didn't really have uniforms. They had home knitted wool jumpers that were the same in black trousers. But
yeah.
things have moved forward, and they have the marching wasn't the same in the 1970s. It became more professional, more polished, everything. So don't be thinking that our traditions don't evolve, and don't be thinking that they're stuck in 1653 or whatever. Uh, what we're looking at is how we behave, interact, and move forward as British people, as a collective.
Problem is, though, right over here, those traditions stopped in about 1955. That's the problem, and it shows so much. The contrast of spending time over in your bit of the land, coming from my bit of the land, right, is so powerful. It's unbelievable, and it's so much more than like 15 years ago. Last time that I was there, did the whole motorbike trip, stayed in Belfast, did the Antrim Coast Road, did the Rope Bridge, and all that, and all that stuff. But didn't notice a massive amount of difference. But now you do. Now you do. You know, there ain't no marching bands going through Luton. Can you imagine it? Can you
Oh
imagine it?
well, there maybe is, but they're not that type.
No.
Yeah, it'll be a different. It's a different demographic marching through Luton now.
Yeah.
Oh, what was Ali?
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Sorry, what was Ali C saying about the curbs?
Oh no. Right. Okay. So as we're driving around, looking at houses,
Yep.
potential places to live. One of the things I really noticed, I was going to ask you, is it a feature of just that area, or is it a thing all over? So so many detached houses as well. So many detached houses.
Out in the country, there is always a lot of detached houses.
Yeah. So that style where they have the blocks on the corners of the house. They have the blocks that are a different colour, and they sort of like interlock.
Right.
On
Yes.
on the four corners, and it's a wicked style. And you see a lot of that sort of like medium grey. A lot of the houses are painted like a medium grey with a contrasting roof or whatever. Just looks so cool. But what's the things with the blocks? Do you know what I mean?
Because it makes them look like a church.
Yeah. There's a bit of that to it, definitely.
It's
Yeah, but there's loads of them. There'd be a whole estate.
Yeah,
that all the houses are the same. They're like that. Just
it's just to fancy them up.
Yeah, right. But over here they'll paint a fucking front door red to fancy it
Yeah,
up. No, it's a
yeah.
different game, man. It's a different game.
Well, the other the other thing is like those well, actually the states are a bit different, but the farmhouse and the farmlands, that's all been in the same hands for generations, and they've improved and improved. You know,
Yeah, but a lot of these look like new builds. And
yeah,
what's so cool about it that there was a style that was being maintained,
yes,
you know, and it probably wasn't by some local council that said, "Oh no, you want to change your windows, they have to have these bars in them or whatever," so, you know, to make it look like diamond lights
yeah,
windows, whatever. It looked like it was a very attractive style that was being utilised, and it didn't come across as like they had to be like that, because you get other ones that weren't. But
yeah.
it was just shown, it was very, very striking. Never seen that over here. Maybe down in Cornwall, Devon, you know, you might see something like that. I don't know. I just, it really struck me.
It's just different. You know, but it's quite a common thing about here. Like there's houses that they're building close to here that have got that similar sort of different block on the corners.
Yeah. And the ice cream parlours, what's going on with that, man?
Oh, there's
Ice cream
plenty of them.
parlours everywhere. It's just
Yeah.
amazing fucking homemade ice cream part. Just, you don't rarely see anything like that here. Maybe, you know, on a
See,
seaside resort, but not to that quality. Just everything just seemed like better quality. Everything was better in Northern Ireland than it is here. Everything.
the on the I live in the city. On the close main road to me, there's two ice cream parlors. They both do homemade ice cream, uh, and they compete for custom. So it just gets better and better. But
Yeah, okay.
I've never seen anywhere as good as Morelli's in Portstewart, but that's probably the best ice cream in Northern Ireland.
Well, yeah, I'll try
Yep.
that sometime.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, everyone in this chat, honestly, trust me, you know, we hang out here, we agree on a lot of stuff, and one difference is, right, because we're free thinking people, we can disagree on stuff. We have slightly different take on things. So, if you think about the sort of the brainwashed ideological lefties, certain struggles getting that word out. They don't disagree on anything. They don't disagree on anything at all, because they have one repertoire of thought.
Yeah.
But free thinking people on a dissident right or whatever, we're not driven by one single, you know, I've got to say it again.
Ideology.
That's the one. So naturally, we're going to have slightly different views on things, and sometimes this undermines us because of the fucking purity spiral. We've got to stop that, people. We have to stop that. We're not all going to agree. If we were all in one conference centre talking about stuff, we'd come up with a lot of different ideas, and
Yeah.
we'd come to a conclusion what probably were best. If it's a load of commie lefties, they would have no discussion. They've got their things sorted out, and there'd be no difference in what they believe. We have different ideas, but what we have to do is stop with a purity spiral. We have to stop that.
We need the ability to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You know, it's oh fuck. Never mind the purity spiral. Do you know what? See this fucking business where people fall out and then you expect them not to interact with other people and all that bullshit. No, actually, do you know what? See,
Yeah. People left in
Don't-
the middle.
yeah, see anybody ever gets in the middle of anything with me, please know I really don't give a fuck who you're friends with, who you get on with, who you don't get on with. If I get on with you, I get on with you. If I don't get on with you, I don't get on with you. But that's where it starts, middles, and ends. And you know, it's it, you know, see, because you get on with me, it doesn't mean that you have to disagree with anybody else. You make up your own mind and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. Keys to the Kingdom. Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. It's like people that come here that regularly. If you think that 42, I'm going to say this: you do, you do, because he is what exactly what you think is. He's the person you think he is.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
And by the way, Al is 100% what you know of him. There's you know a lot more about me than what you do about Al. This is true, but because I've spoke about all sorts of stuff. But Al is exactly as advertised. But thank you very much for saying that, Al.
Well, yeah, exactly. Being in the room with you, just talk to you, standing cooking food together or whatever. Even though I know your name,
yep.
To me, it's 42 standing next to me while we're cooking, fucking food.
Yep.
You're just the same guy, absolutely genuine guy. So let's stop the fucking around. You know what I mean? There's people. Let's stop the fucking around because we're just isolating each other if we worry about stupid shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not articulating it very well. It's late. I've had a couple of drinks, but
no worries.
But you get the point,
right? We're coming up. We're just over 2 hours. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't covered?
In about 10 minutes after we logged off, there'll be loads. But right now, you know what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly what it's like. Fucking end up with all these ideas. It says 42 on his birth certificate. Oh, I haven't quite got that far at getting that legally changed, but pretty much all the everybody that needs to find out who I am knows me as 42, and I've got my phone numbers 42 anyway, so it's all good. Right. Any preference for outro?
I think harmony, melody, and rhyme.
Actually, I think as a
just because this is what I want people to think about and do it. Do what me and 42 and MG have done, right? Like meet up with people, make connections with people.
Yeah.
Don't it's great to come here in our little corner, but let's move out of this little corner.
The whole idea behind harmony, melody, and rhyme was to put something that could be the start of something else that would potentially turn into a song. Had no idea it was ever going to turn into that. Had no idea that fucking Al Mac would be able to make my voice sound fucking listen toable, because that's a mind fuck on its own. But wrote it, gave it the Al. He put it on the Justice Kane, and it became what it became. The other thing is, people, if you just keep taking the next logical step, it's amazing how much you actually achieve. And there is more music writing going on in the background, and there will be more tunes, and that's what we're at. But yes, harmony, melody, and rhyme is a good one for this stream, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about communities and coming together and creating something.
Yeah, great culture, people meet up. Let's do it for real.
No. No. Sorry. Right. Here we go. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. And we'll put your comments up on the screen.
Hello, this is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance. You are not alone, and we shall walk this journey together. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Let us gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. From that grand house they tried to burn down, there's gold in the ashes if you look around. Let us gather together those that can perform, then from those scarred timbers build our own platform. Build our own platform. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all harmony, melody, and rhyme. We descended from minstrels in old days of yore. We will create a culture as we did once before, forced to stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. They have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Stand by as our country was sold. Did you really think we'd leave that story untold? We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing we will sing harmony, melody, rhyme. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. So one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. Never realized you could not kill a dream. So we will gather together those that can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. Sing words of wisdom, we will sing for all time. We will sing for our people, harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words But you never realized you cannot kill a dream. You cannot kill a dream. And we shall walk this journey together.
Okay, everybody. Al's been Al. I've been 42, and you lot in the chat have been fucking amazing as always. Thank you. Good night. God bless. See you all next week. I'm out of here. Goodbye.